Hey, Marjolaine, how are you?
I was actually nervous about the possibility of going last, so I'm glad I didn't go last.
I love. Well, you're not going last. You're not going last. You're right here. So, welcome tonight. Tell everybody who you are and where you're at and what you do creatively.
So I'm Marjolaine Walker from Ottawa, Canada, and I'm a mixed media artist with a focus on healing through creativity.
Nice, nice. Now, healing through creativity. Obviously, I'm wanting you to talk a little bit about. I'm sure that's a part of your journey, and now you're really helping to release that to others. So, what did that look like in your life, healing through creativity?
Well, before the program, I was really uncomfortable with even calling myself an artist, and I was really, really stuck. And when I'm stuck, the first thing that suffers is creativity. It's the last thing I want to do. And I find that helping people with that just leads me to then, do it myself kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I had a huge lack of boundaries in my life. So when I first joined the program, that was back when you were a one-man show. You didn't have any kind of team. And I was in it for 8 months the first time. And you were pretty straightforward with talking about boundaries. And I remember sitting there thinking, well, Matt, you just don't understand my situation.
Yeah.
You don't know. I can't just do what you're saying to do. Like that's not going to happen. And I finally realized, well, I'm not going to get anywhere in this program if I'm not willing to actually make those difficult decisions and take those hard steps. And so I quit and I pouted for, I don't know, less than a year. and then the Lord said, you're joining the group again. And I thought, well, why? My lack of boundaries. It has nothing to do with art and business. Why would I join an art and business group to do this?
Yeah.
But I think your teaching and your no nonsense approach to teaching on boundaries was what I needed. So,
Wow.
And then he said, you're going to pay for a year because I don't want you to quit again.
Wow.
Wow. And so I'm in my third year, I guess, since then.
I was going to say, you've been around a while now. It's just so incredible. So what does your art life business look like right now? Are you doing that full-time, part-time, or how has that developed in your life?
I guess before I was doing it full-time, but I didn't have to. And now I'm in a position where I have to. So I'm taking it to the next level.
Awesome.
Yeah. And, I could give you tons of stories about how the business part of your group is 100% worth the membership all by itself. And I have stories. I could also tell you that the heart and mind portion of it is 100% worth the cost. And I have stories for that too. But I think this past year, especially since COVID or since the mastermind in person, I want to say that the community is 100% worth the cost of being in this group. And some of my breakthroughs in business happened because of connections with other artists in the group, artists that don't do what I do at all. And I just also wanted to talk about this group being, the expression to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, sure.
I think people can use that as a way to, they're waiting for something to fall out of the sky. And so I think that sometimes, most often, you have to put an investment of time and money to be in the right place at the right time. So this group is being at the right place at the right time. And so I wrote a quote this morning for this. I wrote, intentional investments of money and time will lead you to being in the right place at the right time.
Oh, that's so good. Because you're aligning yourself. I mean, that's so key. I love to use that analogy. I don't know who I heard say this years ago, but it's kind of like, if the shower is running over here, but you're standing over here expecting to get wet, it's not the shower's fault that you're not getting wet. You got to step under it, and I think the same thing with the blessing of God. God wants to bless us and wants to bring divine appointments our way and opportunities and resources and all this, but we've got to align. I know you've been through a lot these last few years just in your own journey and that sort of thing. And you talk about community. How has community helped you walk through not only the business side of things, but also, personal things, spiritual things? What's that meant on this journey?
So part of my lack of boundaries was that my life was always in crisis, and I just was getting dragged into other people's drama. It wasn't even my own. And I joined this group, for the boundaries, but the Lord just kept putting people in my path. We have these calls, right, every month. And I remember one of the first calls, there was 4 of us on, and I thought, I'm not going to talk about what's going on in my life. That's not what this is for.
Right.
Next, one of the women brings up, she tells part of her testimony, and she knew exactly what I was going through. And then another said, oh yeah, me too. And I'm like, what the heck? And then so I started making connections of support. And then, then when I went to the mastermind, I happened to meet someone. There was hundreds of people there, but the Lord put me in touch with one person who also knew what I was going through. And she hooked me up with someone, a different mentoring group to help me with a very specific area. And it had nothing to do with business or art, but within a couple of months, I was asked to teach art journaling in the group of, I think there's 2,500 women in this group.
Wow.
And I did, what you always say not to do. Oh, pay me whatever you want, right? Well, she ended up paying me 3 times what I wanted to make and 5 times what I would have asked if I had said anything.
Wow.
And I remember seeing the check, and I didn't have my glasses on. And I thought, oh, she paid me what I had hoped to make. But when I went to cash it, it was for more than double what I thought I had seen.
Wow.
And then it just opened up other opportunities as I shared my heart. It wasn't for business, but I was painting my pain and sharing stories in the group. And then people in my art journal, and people were like, I want a print of that. And then I'd get private messages. Do you commission work? And, I got to paint something for 800 people for a conference. And it was this is insane. Like, I didn't come here for business, but being in the right place at the right time in this group got me those connections. And also through other connections, I'm now going to launch something else that I never thought I would, that I've been, hiding and procrastinating for 4 years, but just being in a prayer group with some of the members of the mentoring group has just encouraged me so much to walk in my gifts. And
because we're not designed to do this alone. And I think that's, that's what you're saying. We're not designed to do this alone. And I think it's so beautiful, whether it's on a biz chat or a community chat call or at a mastermind weekend or whatever. God's setting up these beautiful, unique relationships for us, that they have something that we need and we have something that they need. And that's how the kingdom works. So, Marjolaine, I'm looking, so many people are encouraged by what you're saying right now. And what would you say to somebody who is maybe in that situation? Boundaries have been a struggle for them. They've not had relationships with other Christian artists, kind of feeling alone in the middle of this, wondering, is this legit? Is this a real opportunity that could be life-giving for them? What would you say to them tonight?
I'd say don't delay, join now. Even the business aspect, like we had a biz chat, I don't know, a month ago or recently.
Yeah.
And I was in a bad mood over some stuff. and I thought, well, the biz chat is about pricing your art. And right now I'm focused on a course and other things, right? So I'm like, why would I do that? And I'm in a bad mood, and what a waste of time. I'm not going, and I'm quitting everything anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah. Right.
So I get on the biz chat, and you do your teaching, and I'm like, yeah. And then we get put in a group of 4. I was in a group with 3 other women. I never met any of them. And one of them just starts speaking life into me. She starts prophesying. She tells me the Lord just told her what price to put on my course even, and it was the same as another prophet had told me, and I'm just bawling, and I just thought, wow, like I really didn't want to come on this call, and I really felt I should. So there's so many reasons why you should join this group.
Yeah, it's so good. It's all those surprises that none of us can plan, but are always there. So, well, listen, it's a joy to know you, to watch what God's doing in your life, and I'm just so proud of you and for you that you're continuing to press into all of that. And thank you so much for taking time tonight to share your story. It's just a joy.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.